Hi everyone, this afternoon on the marketplace, government resumes negotiations with Eurobond holders over restructuring of $13 billion debt. Also coming up, we'll take you to the IMF World Bank spring meetings where Finance Minister Dr. Amin Mohammed has reaffirmed the government's commitment to resolving the nation's energy sector debt crisis.
Negotiating some of the contracts we signed with the independent power producers so that we can reduce the cost of generation.
Also coming up, the Association of Forex Bureaus expects the Ghana cedi to further depreciate more as it says a reverse will be miraculous.
Unless something dramatically happens, I tell you, I don't know what data they are using, to predict that. But from my perspective, I'm afraid to say that I can see more depreciation coming.
All right, we'll be back with details after currency news. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. First up, government has resumed fresh negotiations with Eurobond holders over new terms for restructuring the over $13 billion debt. This is what Joy Business has picked up from some of the commercial creditors present at these meetings. Here's George Jaffe with more from Washington, D.C. in the U.S.
Joy Business understands that there has been 3 separate meetings on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C., USA. One to these commercial creditors, the Eurobond holders, and the IMF. This is to ensure that whatever deal that they reach with these creditors and Eurobond holders are in line with the IMF program and will not result in an increase in Ghana's debt stock going forward, but rather reduce it in the long term. Sources say government is trying to use these engagements to review some of the terms presented to these Eurobond holders. Government is being forced to go through this route again after the IMF rejected an initial deal reached with the Eurobond holders and the commercial creditors. However, government insists it remains optimistic that a deal could be reached that is an agreement in principle before the end of this week or at the end of the IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. Ghana is trying to restructure about $13.4 billion worth of debts coming from these Eurobond investors.
All right, joining me on Zoom is Dr. Kwawu, Senior Finance Lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Thank you so much for joining us. So what would it take to secure a deal with the international bond holders as negotiations resume?
Thank you very much, Daryl. It's going to take us accountability, transparency, and being fair with the international community in terms of trying to be transparent with them and making sure that they also benefit from this particular deal. Let us remember that the external bondholders, when they were signing their agreement, may have agreed to some of the terms of that particular bond. And the terms might include a debt structuring that would actually affect their various countries. And so trying to vary the terms that will result into haircut-based a situation where the interest rate will be reduced or the period of payment will be extended, some of these things might actually affect. So government will also need to compromise its position on the terms that have been proposed to the external bondholders in order to come to an amicable solution.
Well, what are the implications of a delay in reaching a deal on the IMF program? We are told that it's not a prerequisite for the release of the second tranche of funds from the IMF. But what would be the implication if this delays further?
Yeah, so we are already out of the international financial market. And once the debt has not been restructured, payments are not done, what it is going to mean is that the country is going to accumulate more interest. And this interest will come at a compound rate. And so we might be facing credibility issues going forward. Already the domestic debt exchange is affecting the domestic market. When government raises bonds now, I'm sure only a few institutions and individuals will want to take the risk of getting into government bonds. And in the international market, that is also going to play a critical role. Because once you are not able to pay the debt, you are not credit worthy, and countries will not be able to lend money to you.
Meantime, the IMF projecting Ghana's debt to GDP ratio would increase further to reach almost 84% by the end of this year. This projection did not factor the current negotiations to restructure Ghana's debts, but it's still worrying, isn't it?
It is still very worrying because...
Okay, Dr. Seram Kwawu frozen there. We'll try and get back to him, but we still did deal with debt issues because Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has reaffirmed the government's commitment to resolving the nation's energy sector debt crisis. He has been speaking at the IMF World Bank spring meetings. Take a listen.
There's a task force chaired by the Vice President, which is overseeing the implementation of the various reforms and the measures that we are implementing to strengthen the finances of the sector include IPP renegotiation. We are renegotiating some of the contracts we've signed with the independent power producers so that we can reduce the cost of generation. We also are implementing tariff reforms. Since 2022, the regulator, Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, put in place a multi-year tariff framework that led to increase in tariffs by about 70% since September 2022. But this is to assure investors that we admit there are challenges, but we are also bold as a government to take the necessary bullets in order for us to put the sector in a more sustainable manner so as to address those challenges that investors are usually worried about. Then we have the cash waterfall mechanism. Right. It's important because at least it ensures that there's cash flow. I mean, every player in the value chain has some cash flow so that they can be able to meet their operational cost. But it is important to also state that we have had challenges implementing the cash waterfall mechanism, as a result of which, through our collaboration with the World Bank, with the IMF, we have instituted some measures to make it more effective. One of the measures we have introduced is to audit the cash waterfall mechanism quarterly. Yeah. But we're also required to publish the audit findings. And then in addition to this, we are discussing with the World Bank under what we call P4R program, which will require us to acquire or procure up to 1 million meters, because the issue of addressing the finances in the sector is not just about tariff adjustment, but also how we can improve on collection. You have up to 7 different meters in the system which are not speaking to each other. And therefore, we want to be able to harmonize our metering system, to standardize the metering system.
All right, heading back to Dr. Seram Kwawu, as we discuss Ghana's debt issues. And so we're talking about the IMF's projection that Ghana's debt to GDP ratio could reach 84% by the end of this year. Certainly a worrying projection there from the IMF, Doc.
I was saying a worrying projection in the sense that we are already with the IMF, and we are finding other ways of making sure that we get money from other sources. And so there has been loan agreements that we are giving. And so if we don't really discipline ourselves, ensure that we follow the IMF and not necessarily borrowing, then that will be a situation that we cannot control. And so the projection that the debt to GDP will raise by 84% is a serious issue, and we need to look at how we'll be able to solve it.
How well would you say the government is doing with this debt management strategy? What would you recommend?
The debt management strategy is bad. The situation where we borrow money to pay the monies that have been borrowed, in our local parlance, we will say that you are robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that is what government is doing. The debt management issue is also very bad because government payment to contractors and for goods and services delay. The delayance in paying these contracts, goods and services costs a lot of money to the government because the contract prices will be inflated simply because there will be delays in payment, and the value of money comes in, and we need to look at it critically. So government should, as a matter of agency, should try as much as possible to find how they can finance the activities of contractors for goods and services that are going to be done. Using the accrual system of accounting for this will be is very bad, and that is what is affecting government. And so there's a need for us to look at it.
All right, Dr. Sarah Kwawu, Senior Finance Lecturer, University of Cape Coast Business School, thank you so much for speaking to us. Now, the Ghana Association of Forex Bureaus says it expects some more depreciation of the Ghana cedi, and the Vice President of the Association, Dr. Alex Akpabi, says a reverse will be miraculous. He has been speaking to James Ishan.
Must be clever enough to identify what product or services you want to offer at a certain particular environment. Okay? And this, if you like this, there is no way you can, because you must know the environment and find a way of overcoming the challenges. And businesses, operators lack this very what things that defines them. I'm afraid they'll fall into trouble.
We had the EIU somewhere getting to the end of last year predicting that the city would do well this year. We had Fitch also saying that the city would do well this year. But based on what you said, according to you, seem not to see any appreciation going forward. Do you still insist on that, or you think there will be at a point something may change?
I'm making reference to trend. Okay. Trend, especially in an election year. And as a Forex Bureau operator, I can confidently say that unless something dramatically happens, unless government cut down expenditure, okay, unless the demand for these foreign currencies, something is done to bring it down, then of course, because those are the influences, those are the things that influencing, the depreciation of the city. Unless something dramatically happens, I tell you, I don't know what data they are using, to predict that. But from my perspective, I'm afraid to say that I can see more depreciation coming.
Can we say the rating agencies, foreign rating agencies, have also had some impact on our city?
So yeah, I also mentioned about speculation. Speculation is a very strong force, and because in our industry, the moment you hear that maybe some Bank of Ghana has gotten so amount of money, so people, people who would ordinarily come to sell their forex to us, okay, stop. So unless something of that thing happens.
And you side with the views from people for us to have our localized rating agency?
Yes. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I ascribe to that. If we have our localized, rating agency, that is good because we are here. Sometimes even we give information to these foreign rating, agencies. We collect data for them, and so if we have our own here, I think it's the precision will be much better than what we get from outside.
All right, in other news, as Ghana's cocoa sector is diminishing at a faster rate, the citrus and juice industry is likely to be the next game changer as it currently stands to rake in over $300 million annually through exports. This could be the driver for economic transformation if numerous opportunities within that sector are given the needed credit support. Here's more in this report.
The fruits and vegetables sector is one of the biggest and diverse economic sectors in the world and occupies more land than coffee, cocoa, sugar, and soy. The fruit and vegetable sector can help agricultural industries in developing nations to stimulate economic growth and reduce poverty. Experts from the industry say Ghana stands to rake in over $300 million per annum from the processing of these local fruit for export if the citrus and passion fruit industry are merged together. They urge the country to lead in the emerging fruit and juices industries with potentials like coconut water and coconut milk to aid the country earn over $1.5 billion annually and also creating the sustainable jobs of over 800,000 in the value chain. These earnings could improve on the country's balance of payment, strengthen its reserves, as well as stabilize the currency. It's becoming clear that Ghana harnessing its natural exotic agricultural resources will create huge transformation for the economy. Currently, products like Akumfi juices, which are made from Ghana's own natural pineapples, ginger, oranges, and other fruits are creating huge sustainable income for local farmers and also serving as a new breath hope.
You're watching The Marketplace. Now, the Free Senior High School Free SHS initiative stands as a prominent political campaign commitment in Ghana's Fourth Republic, ranking at the forefront of President Akufo Addo's administration's flagship programs. Moving forward to in 2024, both President Akufo Addo and the Education Minister Yao Seidu have claimed that the total number of beneficiaries has surpassed 5 million. But how accurate is this arithmetic? Joining me for analysis is lead data and research analyst Isaac Ofeje. Great to see you, Isaac. So first, let's start with the claim of 5.10 million beneficiaries of a free SHS, as the president has said. How accurate is this?
Well, Daryl, if you listen to the president, he says that, he mentioned 5.10 million, but it's in numerical terms, there's nothing like 5.10, so we assume you were saying 5.1. Now, the reason why this has become so important is how crucial the free SHS promise, just like you said, it's a big political campaign promise that has been materialized. But we need to also analyze or subject some of the...
Oops, looks like we have lost Isaac there. We'll try and get him back on as we mix a bit of politics and business, fact-checking the president's claim.
So when the president can you hear?
Yeah, it's better now. So we lost you.
Hello, Daryl.
We lost you a few seconds ago. So just reiterate the point you're making.
Yes. So I was talking about the president's claim that some 5.1 million children have so far benefited from the program. And what is surprising is that on that same podium at the launch of the One Student, One Tablet initiative, the president and his education minister could not sing from the same hymn book. As he quoted 5.1 and his education minister quoted 5.7 million beneficiaries under the program. If you do the math, that gives you a difference of some 600,000. So we are asking a very simple question. What is the true number of beneficiaries under the free SHS program?
So what did you discover from your checks?
Well, so we've been looking at data from the Education Ministry's own program-based budget, as well as the Free SHS Secretariat, their database. And we are starting this analysis with the clue the president gave us, that if you look at the current enrollment figure of 503,000, that is the highest in the country's history. And so indeed, if this is the country's highest in our history, then how come that some more than 5 million children have benefited from the program in less than 6 academic years? In fact, if you use the data provided by the Education Ministry, there's no way you arrive at a total number of beneficiaries if you count children to be about 5 million. The maximum you get is, 3.1 million, Daryl.
Yeah, let's talk about the cost because earlier in the show we were talking about Ghana's debt crisis, and so many people feel that the kind of economic challenges we are facing is also as a result of how much money has gone into free SHS. So tell us how much the government has spent on the free SHS program.
Well, so the program began in 2027, and so far the government has been pumping a lot of money into the free SHS. The amount of money pumped into the free SHS is huge. I mean, it started from about 1.1 billion Ghana cedis, and now we are looking at somewhere more than 2.8 billion Ghana cedis. A lot of money has been sunk into the free SHS program, and that's why if you look at this economic commitments to the program, then we need to be accurate with some of the assessments we are doing, because you cannot have the highest enrollment number under the program to be 503,000, and in less than or in 6 academic years say that more than 5.1 or 5.7 million children have benefited from the program. That can be the case, but we are hoping to get some more clarity from the Education Ministry or probably the Ministry of Finance on the total number of beneficiaries. On budgetary instances, you can use that 5 million. At that stage, you'll be talking about cost. And so you need, the amount you be spending each year and hence counting the children that way. But if you are talking to us about, or if you are telling us about the total number of beneficiaries, there's no way we think that will reach more than 5 million. And so just like you see on your screen, the economic commitment to the free SHS is huge. This year, 2.8 billion Ghana cedis, Daryl.
Final question, is free SHS still a big deal as we head into the polls in December? How is it likely to sway the electorates and benefit the ruling party, if you like?
Well, it's a very big deal. I mean, if you look at free SHS, for instance, it's become the top priority in terms of the flagship programs of this government. And they will use this opportunity to tell Ghanaians the total number of beneficiaries or how the free SHS program has relieved parents of the cost of, sending their children to secondary school. We must admit that, people have benefited from this program, and governments will be using this as a tool to campaign and say, when you gave me 8 years, this was what I was able to do. I was able to do free SHS, pumped a lot of money into it. Your children went to school for free, so give me additional, years to go into my 3rd term and do more. But we need to analyze, some of the claims made by the government, especially the true number of beneficiaries under the program. But going to 2024, it will be a crucial element, because you look at the NDC who are saying that, they will, restructure the free SHS, if I should put it that way. They say they are looking at, quality education and progressive free senior high school. They started something like that somewhere using, Form 1 students and then also those who are in the day students to start their own policy. And so they have their own fresh thinking around the free SHS program. But definitely in 2024 general election, it will be a big deal, Daryl. 15
seconds, because I always ask you this week, on a scale of 5, where do you think free SHS stands?
Again, please.
On a scale of 5, where do you think free SHS stands when it comes to the electorate's decision?
Well, if I should list 1 to 5, I think I'll put it number 3.
Okay.
It's still a big deal. Looking at debt restructuring and
the power crisis.
What have you? Yeah.
So
power crisis. So power crisis maybe number 1, debt restructuring number 2, free SHS a big deal for me number 3.
All right. Thank you so much, Isaac Ofeje, lead data analyst with Joy News. Appreciate that you could speak with us. Now, finally, some forest reserves in the Ahafo region are under siege as illegal loggers fell trees indiscriminately. Now, the Bia, Tano, and Impamiso forest reserves are largely affected. Residents in the forest communities fear for their lives as the activities of the armed illegal logging operators continue to gain grounds in the area. Nanaya Ojima visited the area and filed this report.
It is estimated about 100,000 acres of natural forest has been lost in the last decade alone. Aside from the negative impact on climate change, the timber industry is threatened by the growing phenomenon. The Bia Tano Forest Reserve, which was once rich in trees, is gradually losing its wealth due to indiscriminate logging. Some trees, yet to be fully developed, are felled illegally and wrongly, threatening the survival of the reserve. Compartments of the forest, though legally acquired for logging, are under siege by illegal operators.
Just last Saturday, our workers on their way to the bush to work and bring us logs, they were stopped in this town called Bediako. They were stopped where men were holding cutlasses, men with sticks, men with guns, standing there, that they will never allow us to cross. And if we are men and we want to cross, they will come, follow us to the bush and shoot our drivers.
Since 2017, Supremo Wood Processing Company has lawfully acquired 23 compartments in the 2 forest reserves but are being restrained from operations. Presently, the company is purchasing raw materials from other sources, increasing the cost of operations. The company, which employs hundreds, is slowing down production for this reason. Francis Asari is general manager.
And if it goes this way, it means this company has to be shut down. The company has to be shut down. We need the intervention of everybody, all Ghanaians, to come in. We've done our part. We've informed Nananom, we've informed the police, we've gone to regional minister, we've gone to MCE. Our pleas are heard, but actions being taken are slow for us. And the company is coming down because now we are not going to the bush to work anymore.
Workers of the company took to the streets, demanding authorities stop the illegality. Some say they are being rendered redundant due to the drop in production.
They are caretakers of their children, their family, and almost, I don't know how to put it. And imagine if they are not working. What will happen?
Joy News investigations have revealed the Ahafo Regional Security Council has been made aware of the situation. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Ahafo Region.
All right, and that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. We've got more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. The day's latest stories from over there, you can check it out, myjoyonline.com/business. And we'll see you same time tomorrow.